let me address. First of all, I have to say that when I read MM's comments, and I read them at the same time that you did in the newspaper, I completely disagreed with them. Okay? And I will share with you what I did. The first thing I did was I called my Malay Activities Executive Committee chairperson, and I asked her, it just so happened she was having a meeting with her committee the following night. So I asked her, first of all, to please inform the committee that as her MP and advisor in the grassroots organizations, I completely disagreed with MM. Okay? Number two, I also asked her to assure all the Malays in her committee and also to spread the word that as an MP for Punggol East, I did not think that the Malays were not integrated or the Muslims were not integrated and that Islam would cause problems. And I still hold that view. I also spoke to many of my MP colleagues, Muslim MP colleagues, and they also did not hold that view. I spoke to many of my non-Muslim MP colleagues, and they also did not hold that view of our generation. And I say this because I think that a lot of what MM has to say, and you know, having spoken to him about it, were his personal views of his generation. And I'm not going to try and justify or comment on what he thinks. What I will say is that as an MP sitting here, I agree with many of his views expressed in his book in terms of foreign policy and etc., etc. But on this particular point, I disagree with him. And I think that it is something that came out very strongly to him, and hence his statement that he stood corrected on those issues. Now, whether it has dented the relationship between the Muslim community and the Malay community and the PAP, I don't think that we need to fool ourselves. Obviously, it had an effect. But I think that what I can say is that as far as the party is concerned, certainly I would probably say all of us at that time disagreed with MM. And I think that came out from both the cabinet level, the prime ministerial level, and also the MP level on the ground. And so therefore, obviously, there is ground that has to be made up, and you know, we continue to work at that. But I think that MM saying that he stood corrected has helped quite a bit, you know. But I'm not going to say that it's all over and everything is fine. Obviously, that is not the case. But I think it's really something that each individual MP has to work at in terms of bridging that gap and, you know, re-establishing or repairing that relationship. And, you know, we continue to work at that. So that's my personal view, you know.
Well, you know, our philosophy quite clearly is that we are a liberal, inclusive party. A person's religion, sexual orientation or sexuality should not come into any decision about their fitness for office or their rights as an individual. So we believe in treating everybody as Singaporean first. And we want to move to abolish this outmoded race classification, which I think is being carried to ridiculous levels now with double and even triple-barreled race. I mean, my IC says Celanese on it, which you know, I think is an obsolete racial category. And I remember one of the last, when my father filled in the form for the party for the Registry of Societies, he put down human as the race. So, you know, certainly we would abandon this policy of treating Malays and Muslims as potential fifth columnists. I think it has been used in the past as a kind of way of binding the majority in Singapore to the government. out of fear or a sense that only the PAP can ensure the security of the country. So that has to change.